Welcome back or welcome to the third race in my Zwift racing series. As you'll see, it was my toughest race, by far. So this time I'm warming up, starting even harder than before, and I haven't had any wine. So hopefully it goes a lot better. Okay, so I put down 300 watts as I start to try and stick to the group here, and I see that I'm a bit too far forward for my liking, so I ease off the power a bit as I'd much rather be behind to get the draft. And yes, we are on Brimpton bikes. Then this guy flies up the front, and I know there isn't even any point in me chasing him as that's too much power too early, and it's more important for me to try and stick to a bigger group as I always end up just doing the whole race by myself and no draft at all. I also know there's a high chance we end up catching him a bit later. Then, just around the corner from here, we get to the first little climb of the race, and I didn't think I'd say this so soon, but we're already catching up to this guy that went solo just 500 meters ago. I'm not sure if he's already gassed himself a bit too early, or if he just realized he'd be riding solo for way too long. I also got my first power up here, but I still have no idea when it's best to use these yet, and my focus is still just on keeping a steady rhythm and sticking with this group. And just like that, the race is back together. I'm in the front pack somehow for the first time ever. I haven't been completely dropped, and my average watts so far are 30 above my FTP. This is the best start I've ever had. Just down the road, someone goes off the front again, and I need to close down a small gap to keep my draft, but then, due to a decline and me weighing in the mid-80s, I accidentally go to the front of the group and immediately shake my head as I decide to pull back as it's not the place for me, so I drop back into the pack and get the full draft benefit. Another 500 meters down the road, still chilling in the pack, I see someone pops their drafting boost power up, so I pop mine too and just try to get some free distance out of it while it's active. And then, for the first time in my Zwift racing history, I'm first in a race. But I don't fight to keep it at all, because that isn't my goal. My goal is to try and stick to the pack for the whole race and then see what I can do in the last 200-300 meters, as I'm already pushing way harder than I should. Now, we're only 3 kilometers in and my heart rate is chilling in the 190s, which just isn't good. I'm obviously quite tired, as this is the hardest I've pushed myself before at the start, and my average watts are still around 15 above my FTP after 5 minutes of racing. So the group I've been in starts pulling away, and I decide it's rather best to stick to the group that's 12 seconds behind me if I want to last the rest of this and not just completely break, as I can see this group is not for me. Then we get to the second small climb, and although I'm fairly tired with the super high heart rate, I know I still have a lot more energy and power left, so I try to maybe see if I can close the gap, but they still just keep riding away from me. I'm not sure if this is due to me being heavier than some of them, being less powerful, or both. But what sucks the most is that I'm now alone with no more draft, just like my previous 2 races. And yes, you're seeing that heart rate right. It is from my watch's heart rate monitor, not a chest strap, so it might be slightly inaccurate, but still largely accurate. Although it's super high, I do know I am able to maintain this. That doesn't mean I'm happy with it, and don't worry, I am doing several 1-hour Zone 2 rides a week to try and combat this, as I don't want this to happen often for obvious health reasons. Then thankfully, after 2.5 kilometers riding solo, I finally get caught by that group that was 12 seconds behind me, and I know I need to stick with them if I want to still do well in this race. As you can see, I'm pretty tired at this point, but my average watts are now my exact FTP after 12.5 minutes. And for me, that's honestly really good, and I'm 10 out of 10 sure that my FTP was too high from that ramp test. So just under 3 kilometers later, I'm still sitting in with this group as we all keep playing a game of cat and mouse on who is going to pull up front as we try to catch the 2 riders in front of us that have dropped off from the front group. We thankfully ease off the power a bit here while all trying to not go up front, and I'm really grateful as I really needed this little break to rest my legs, recompose myself and hydrate. Not much changed over the next few kilometers. It was still that game of cat and mouse, slowly losing riders either going forward or dropping off. And honestly, each of the last kilometers have been pretty brutal. I'm still sitting in the 190s with my heart rate, and I've been pushing on my limit, just wanting to see the finish line and doing my best to stick with this group. At the top of this last climb, the group was slightly ahead of me and I've had to do a lot to keep on them, but I know on the downhill my body weight advantage will bring me back to them. And then my pugs decided to run in and I have to tell them to leave as they will run directly under the pedals and I'll have to stop pedaling at the risk of leaving them with a Tom and Jerry sized lump on their head as they like putting their heads directly under the pedals. Now at the bottom, there's just over 1 kilometer to go and it honestly can't come any sooner. I'm so tired at this point and I'm really keen for this race to be over, but my only focus now is to try and stick with the group no matter what so they can try and get a good sprint finish. Then here we are, the final 400 meters, my heart rate at its max and the finish line in sight. Although I'm broken, I still have fight left in me and I also realize I've been so focused that I haven't even had time to put on Metallica. And now, for the very first time, I'm coming to a sprint finish and I don't have them on. So these riders start pulling away from me and I have to put down power sooner than I wanted to so that I don't lose them, but I'm still saving some power for the last 100 meters. And then at 80 meters, my calf starts cramping. And then I got the absolute worst cramp of my entire life and had to fully pull all power from my leg. I didn't even realize at the time that I pulled such a bad face when it happened and I had to immediately unclip and get off the pedals. That was intense. But I got 15th, my best ever position by far. I normally come basically last, so the fact I got 15th and stayed with the group is a massive improvement for me, even though I probably just took a good few years off my life with that heart rate. So averaging 171 watts and 2 watts per kg over 32 minutes is also a really great improvement for me. Despite cramping so badly at the end and nearly having a stroke, those results are actually really good for me. So much so that my racing score actually went up for the very first time. It normally just goes down. And it's also the first time I've actually been able to race with people and not just be riding by myself the entire time. And yes, I'm well aware it is not healthy or sustainable to keep my heart rate that high at all, let alone for that long. But I did just want to push myself that race and see what I can do. So going forward, I'm going to keep working really hard on my Zone 2 training, and I will use the races as my anaerobic training so that's when I'm pushing myself and I can film at the same time. I won't go as hard as I did here, as of course it's not healthy or sustainable. So I will keep racing, but I'll be more conservative about it. And I'm fine if I lose a race. My health is obviously what's more important. So I am going to be trying to improve that. So if you don't already, go follow me on Instagram so you can see what I'm doing on a daily basis. I am trying to post there a lot more regularly, well, starting now-ish, I guess. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.